Good afternoon. Governor, I'm curious if you've watched the video of the Parkway shooting that the AG released. If so, do you have any reaction, and have you talked to the man's family? Curious if anybody in New Jersey has tested positive for COVID from the Memorial Day gathering at the house in Cape May County. And Governor, I just kind of wanted to get your reaction on Assemblyman Weber and some other GOP lawmakers who criticized you for breaking your own executive order about public gatherings over the weekend. And maybe even specifically about how people have been ticketed here in Trenton for gathering and protesting, and just your reaction to that.
So, Matt, I've not seen the video, and I've not spoken to the family, but that is, first of all, the video I think was just released a few minutes ago. And secondly, I just have to stress and reiterate a point I made already, that this is an independent process based on the bill that I signed and the Attorney General's guidance that was based on that law, and that's the way it should be. It needs to be that way. And it is, and the good news, notwithstanding a loss of life, is that's exactly what is happening, and this will end up, it will find its way to a grand jury. I've got no more color. Is the Cape May gathering the one where the folks from Pennsylvania went back? I've got no coloring on it, but I was concerned when I saw that. And I have to and if we do get more color, I don't know where Dan has gone, but we'll get back to you on it. But I just would reiterate, indoors, people packed in together, sedentary in particular, lacking in ventilation. And I can't say that that was the case in Cape May County, but it sounded like it was an indoor. Those are still hard nuts to crack, and we've got to be careful on that. Listen, I've only seen a couple of headlines. This may be one of the most profound moments in the history of our country, and I don't say that lightly. And it does feel different this time. And again, we're in the first year of the 5th century since slavery first came to our shores, and the stain of racism is alive and well, and it's before our very eyes, whether it's in George Floyd's loss of life, a life that by any measure should not have been lost, or whether it's the health data that Judy and I speak to every day. And I do think this is a profound, filled with gravity, momentous moment in our nation's history. Now, do I want everybody to be covering their face and do everything they can to achieve social distancing? And by the way, even if you did, please go out and be tested. Yes. Do we need these protests to be peaceful? We do. And so far, New Jersey has distinguished itself, as it has time and again, in particular over the past several months. And Pat and I, when Pat says what he says, I always literally knock on wood, just as I do when Judy says the child inflammation syndrome has not led to any loss of life. I always hit the wood on that. It has to stay peaceful. But this is a moment that I think is bigger than any of us right now. And so I'll leave it at that. Thank you. And again,